Welcome to lesson 35, where Java gets real. This is going to be the most important thing that you cover in all of your time in Java. Up until now, we've done smaller things, where now with inheritance, we're able to do bigger, more complex things, not necessarily harder, but it also shows off the power of Java. It's called inheritance because it works kind of like how the traits you have from your parents work. So genetics is a little bit of inheritance. For this lesson, we're going to have three classes. We're going to have one that's just lesson 35, one that's savings account, and one that's called bank account. So go ahead and get those set up. And for bank account, right click, select tool. We're just going to copy this straight from your book into Eclipse. And don't forget to set up some of the formatting. So going through this, we have a constructor that takes in a certain amount into the bank account and sets the balance equal to that amount. Get balance will return code, but we haven't written that code yet. Then we have a deposit code to put money into our bank account and withdraw to take money out of our bank account. And so far, the only instance variable that we have is balance. So now you are going to actually like this because our bank account class is known as the super class. Now we're going to set up our savings account, which is the subclass. So if you go in your book, here is our savings account. Copy, paste it in there. And don't forget to format it. So our savings account subclass is all set up, and you'll notice this first line where it says public class savings account extends bank account. So I don't know why they didn't just call it inheritance or inherits, but extends means that our savings account subclass inherits all the traits from our bank account class, and we'll talk about that. For our savings account, it's going to take in the amount in the account, and it's also going to take in the interest rate. Alright, so in here we have our interest rate. So our interest rate is the only state variable we have so far. So what we did by extending the bank account, it means that any of the public methods that we put in our bank account class, they can be used by savings account. So you may have noticed in here in line 19, we call on the deposit method. We didn't tell anywhere in the savings account class how to use deposit. It's referring back to the bank account class and using this deposit method. Okay, so you may notice this line in 12 here where we say super amount. So really what this is doing is not just calling in the constructor, it calls the constructor from the super class. So it's sending this amount to bank account in your line 8 over in your bank account. So the subclass uses the things that the superclass uses. So like you are your parent is the superclass, you are the subclass. You use their things. So you can use super and send it over to the superclass. If this line were not here, there will be nothing sent to bank account here. So none of this code would even work. For using a subclass and a superclass, you must call the superclass in the first line of the subclass constructor code. So this has to be here. And don't forget to go ahead and save your savings account. And then scroll down to where it says testing the subclass and superclass. We're going to copy and paste this text into our lesson 35. Now I did not copy that first slide because I don't really like things that are just named tester. It doesn't really make sense to me. Makes sense to you? Power to you. Don't forget to format this. Now for whatever reason, whenever you get quotes from Adobe, it hates them. So go ahead and fix those and click save. So if you recall in our savings account class, Our constructor is expecting to receive a double for the amount and a double for the rate. So we send it that. We send 205 for our rate. So we send it 205 as our interest rate. Now look what happens. So we send it the double amount. Amount is then sent to our superclass. So now we are sending the amount to our constructor, and it saves 200 from our tester. So then we send it the deposit. So if you look at your savings account class, remember there is no deposit. So it's inheriting all of our bank account methods. It says that there's an error, so what I want you to do is at the end of that line, just hit enter. I'm going to put a bracket in there, and then you can delete those brackets that are commented out. It's kind of annoying. Now you shouldn't really have errors anymore. It won't really work because you don't have any code in there, but you're sending your deposit from here all the way to bank account. So go ahead and save that. Save savings, and then C gets rid of your error. So after we deposit, we add interest. So go to your savings account. This is where it'll go. So it'll take the interest, it'll get your balance, multiply by the interest rate, and it's going to call the deposit method from your bank account class and send it interest. So what it's going to do is it's going to go to deposit, and it's going to add that interest to that 200. Hopefully by now you know how deposits work. Otherwise, this is probably very confusing. Then the last thing this code does is it's going to print what our final balance is. So if you go to bank account, that's where the get balance is. Now you'll see an error here. It says you need to return a double type. So balance is a private state variable for this class. But with get balance, what you'll be able to do is return your deposit, and then, or not deposit, you'll be able to return balance. So if you put return in there, it should get rid of that because balance is going to be a double. Once you save it, you shouldn't have an error in any of the rest of these. You're now ready to move on to the next video.